Hey, it's Panda, and welcome to this Mabinogi Gate 2 tutorial. So, it's been a minute since I last posted a video. I've been working extremely hard on my SL weapon, and I finally crafted my SL wand, so I'll be using that in this video. So, first things first, the HS is probably gonna rebuff you, and if you're in a public party, you may see people saying, like, oh, I'll go west or I'll take south. What this basically pertains to is the 50% mechanic, which I'll go into more detail when we get there. But since I'm running in a 4P static here, we don't really say where we're going because we already know. I'm usually going in the west. And then if you are running in an 8P, you may see some people ask about who wants to bait. So a baiter is basically someone who's always going to be the furthest from the horse, taking the horse's spit attacks. And then here I show where we stand for 90%, which is the first mechanic that happens, which is Storm Rush. So once everyone steps in the circle, Brontanus is going to spawn, or what some people would call it, Bronchitis. And you're going to debuff it right away. And then we just damage it down to 90%. The HS may pall after you get all the debuffs on, or they may pall after the 90% mechanic. The horse also does a variety of moves like running, just like that. We wait here because the horse will eventually run back to us, or maybe jump on us, depends. Yeah, so here it just runs back to us. And then we go back to damaging. In here you see us staying super close to Brontanus, so that's why it's not doing any of its spit attacks. But later in the video, you'll probably see somebody get too far away from Brontanus, and then it will spit. Whether you are running in a 8P or a 4P, the drops won't change, the boss's health won't change, it's still the same thing. Basically, people just want to do a 4P, so you don't have to split as much as you would as in an 8P. It's also important to note that you have 20 minutes to clear this gate, and if you don't clear in time, it will automatically restart you to the beginning of gate 2. So the first mechanic happens at 90%, so I'll just start explaining it now. Basically, what's going to happen is we will all line up in a line, and a red beam is going to spawn, and when it spawns, it's actually selecting one person in the group at random. So say if you're really far ahead and it selects you, you're basically hurting everyone in the back. During this mechanic, you can anchor rush like how I'm doing here, or you can walk it or dance a death it. There's always going to be 3 beams, so after the second one, you could just go extremely far for that third beam. And then after that beam, the horse will jump on top of you here. It's important that you anchor rush and not get stomped on, because I've seen it where it stomps down and people actually get kicked into that pollution and die. And here's a perfect example of that. At the start of a mechanic, the horse stomps down like this. You also want to anchor rush. And here I didn't have overshield and I got kicked in the pollution and I died. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna show 90% one more time because there's just a couple things I want to point out. So here I did the anchor rush to avoid the stomp. And during these storm rushes, you're gonna see these circles, like right here. So as a DPS and SG, we don't need to worry about these. Just focus on dodging those red beams. But as HS, it's really important that you either have a pulse down, you're keeping overshield on, or you're bopping in between beams, because a rock's falling out of the sky onto the party. And if we don't have overshield, we don't have the pulse or bop, we can end up getting pushed back, which causes us to die because we can't anchor rush those beams. And to give people an idea on what a baiter is, in this run, I am baiting. Typically it's an AS, but we didn't have an AS in the party, so it goes to a DD next. So here the horse is spitting on me, and I get turned into a crystal whenever I get hit by the horse's spit. And the only way to get out of a crystal is for the HS to heal you using Echoes of Salvation or Hands of Restoration. And here I'm just always staying a good distance from the horse, and then whenever a mechanic happens, I get right back with the team. Okay, so at 75%, Storm Rush happens again, and I feel like I just really want to go over this one more time. So a beam will spawn on one person in the party. But say if we have, like, I don't know, Bob over here and the beam spawns on him. Look how far I'm gonna have to anchor rush now, right? And if Bob keeps going and another beam ends up locking onto him, you're pretty much killing everybody else in the team. So that's why it's so important to not panic during storm rushes and stay lined up with the team. Alrighty, so here is 75%. It's going to be the exact same thing as 90%. A thing I do want to talk about is Shield of Trust. So if your Shield of Trust does not have level 15 guarded footsteps, which is the sub-skill for it, do not use it because it can cause desync when it runs out, which can cause people to die to the beams. During the run, you can use things such as like your cat circles and glyphs to help speed up the damage. 60% is the next storm rush, and what's different about this one is that we do not line up right against the previous pollution. We actually line up right in front of this crack shown right here. And we do this because we need to leave space for people to go north for the 50% mechanic. Alrighty, so the next mechanic happens at 50%. And this is what I briefly kind of talked about in the beginning, how some people will say what direction they want to go in. So basically what's going to happen is at 50%, you need to start in a certain spot. So if you chose the north, you'll be starting in the top left of the circle. If you're in the east, you'll start in the top right. South starts in the bottom left, and the west starts in the top left of the circle. And this is all according to if you're looking at the map like down, if you're on top of the map looking down, right? When you do the 50% mechanic, usually you're always going to be staring towards the center of the map. So basically a rock comes out of the sky and it's going to create a circle. You need to get in that circle immediately and stand in your correct spot when you start. So around 51% or 50.5%, people are going to stop damaging the horse and you're going to head towards your spot. Here you're going to see the people going north here. They need to anchor rush over the pollution to get into their north spot. So you'll always have an HS with them just to make sure, like, if they happen to get in the pollution, they'll heal them to get out of the crystal. Since I'm in the west, you always want to wait here. You never want to wait in your spot that you start, because the horse can still spit at me during this time while we're pushing it to 50. Then here I am riding to my spot, and this is 50%. You gotta dodge a lot of beams. You saw I started in the top left or bottom left of the circle since I'm looking at the center of the map. And here you just dodge the beams. You saw there was a little text on my screen, so that means I'm good to go. I don't need to dodge any more beams, and I can just chill. And then after the mechanic, I head directly towards the SG so that the horse can jump over to the SG and we can resume the mechanics here. And then here I kind of just wanted to give you guys a visual of each direction and where you should be starting at for when 50% hits. The faster that you get into this white circle here, the less beams you're going to have to dodge. Also, say at 50%, everyone on the west side dies. That means you're going to have to restart this entire gate no matter what. So that's like kind of the cons of doing a 4-man. If one person dies on either side, you're going to have to restart regardless. And then here I just wanted to show that the north side people are going to have to re-jump over the pollution to get back with the team. So if you're an HS, just remember to watch the people in the north jumping over the pollution. It is possible to jump over the pollution and not get crystallized there, but typically I don't go in the north, I'm usually in the west, so I don't really have that jump kind of down yet. And then at 40%, storm rushes happen again, but at the end it's a little bit different. You're going to see these storm rushes happen a little bit quicker as well. And then after the third beam, what you do is you stay and line up with the team, wait for the horse to lock in on you like that, and then you anchor rush as far as you can to the left to dodge that breath attack that you see. And then you get with your SG, and then you go back to damaging the horse. And then this is a clip from another run. I wanted to show what you could do at 40% and 20%. So basically, say if your team's really struggling at 40% and 20%, like somebody always dies, what you can do is have somebody do the mechanic, but on the completely opposite side. And what you're kind of hoping for is for them to take a beam, or even taking the breath attack in case somebody dies on this side. So here you're gonna see someone's on the other side. Princeps is taking the mechanic from the opposite side. You see him up at top. Here he gets the breath attack instead of us, which is awesome because say if somebody had died on our side to one of those previous beams, we would have been able to revive them because he took the attacks on the opposite side. So this is like an alternate that you can do for 40% and 20%. Yeah, so this is what sucks about Gate 2 is just say you're having a great run, right? But if you die at 40% or 20% and you don't have somebody taking the attacks from the opposite side, that breath that the horse does makes it so your Harmonic Saint's not going to be able to reach you to revive you. So you're pretty much down for the rest of the run. And then the last mechanic happens at 20%, and it's the exact same as 40%. The only difference is that typically you're going to Iron Will as well when it gets right before 20%. And this is just because when you're doing that last push to defeat the horse, it's just good if you have Iron Will on, so you're not getting knocked around so much and you're not putting a lot of stress on your HS. And yeah, that's pretty much all the mechanics from here. You just want to stay close when damaging the horse, unless you do have a baiter, then you don't have to stay as close. But here we're doing 4P and we don't use a baiter for 4P, so we're all just trying to stay close. Yeah, so that's about it. If you are watching this video and you have any questions, always feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I will try to get back to you as quickly as I see them. And maybe you've ran Gate 2 before and you want to offer some more advice, or maybe there's some things I missed. Also feel free to leave them in the comments below. I always try to make these videos as short as I possibly can, but when doing so, there's maybe some things maybe I forgot to mention. So never hesitate in leaving a comment below. Also, if you are struggling at the 50% mechanic, I will leave this tool in the comments below. Surely I'll remember to do that, and you can use this to practice. But ultimately, I think the best practice is just going to be continuously running it yourself and getting repetitions in. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time.